little while since we've seen you, a year. The last Bellator champion, I think, to compete since they've come back from the pandemic. So how difficult was that? Were you hoping to jump in there as soon as Bellator came back and you just happened to be the last one, or did you prefer to have that December timeline like usual?
I think I preferred the December timeline. That's just what I'm used to, and not gonna lie, I put on a lot of weight during the quarantine, so I needed that extra time to get focused again. So yeah, it's weird that I've only fought once this year, but I think that was by design, you know. So it's cool. It's here now, and I'm grateful and happy to be here.
Is it nice to kind of have that same, December fight? Like every year, it's getting to be that time of year again. I'm going to step in there. Is it a good mindset to have that you're always going to have that?
It is. I do really like fighting in December, and even though I have to give up Thanksgiving, I can still have Christmas and New Year's. So I think that's why I enjoy it, because you have to sacrifice something when preparing for a fight. So as long as I don't have to fight in January, I'm good, because then I at least get my Christmas.
Yeah, that would be tough. One thing that's a little different, obviously, than your last couple of December fights is you're not going to be able to have the Hawaiian crowd there to cheer you on. There's not going to be really any crowd. So is that kind of a bummer that you weren't able to have that happen, obviously, given the situation?
Of course it's a bummer. Of course I love going to Hawaii and fighting in front of my friends and family, but I think this is also kind of like a nice little change up that it just seems very all business now. It's from the minute that we got on the plane to right now, it's just like we're in and out. So it's interesting. This is the first fight that I will leave immediately after. Normally, all of my other fights, I stay a day or two extra to relax and go sightseeing. But this one, I'm like, I fight at around midnight, and then 6 hours later, I'm on a plane. So it's kind of crazy that there's not going to be any downtime. But it's cool. It's just, again, we're in and out. It's very nothing but business right now.
Yeah. And talk about the business that's in front of you on Thursday. Juliana Velasquez, the right next challenger in your estimation?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I knew that we were going to meet each other eventually. It was inevitable. She climbed the ranks just like I did when I first started out in Bellator. I fought whoever they put in front of me. I beat them. I finished them. And eventually I got my title shot. And that's exactly what she's done. So, I knew that we were gonna find each other sooner or later. And here it is.
And hearing you speak, does she remind you a little bit of you in a sense in her journey up, or is it just?
Yeah, I guess I would say that we have more similarities than any other fighter in the division. Our records are pretty much the same. Stylistically, we couldn't be any more opposite, but yeah, I would say as far as our experience goes and everything, we have pretty much the same everything.
Yeah. And it's nice when you have a fight like that where there's 2 zeros in the loss column. So. Nobody's been able to really figure out you, but on the flip side, nobody's been able to really figure out her either. So what do you think that you can do differently maybe than these other fighters the ones that have tried to beat her and are unable to? What kind of matchup do you think you present that would crack her code?
Well, one huge monkey wrench is that I'm actually well-rounded and a good wrestler. None of her other opponents have really been well-rounded. They were all predominantly strikers who chose to stand and strike with her when that's like her strongest tool. So, I think that's going to throw a big monkey wrench in her plans, that here is somebody who is a top-level grappler and has the best grappling in the division. So, I think that's not to say she doesn't have any ground. She's a black belt judoka, but we just haven't seen that because she never needed to show it in any of her other fights.
Yeah, and you don't have any reservations about getting in that type of an exchange with her, obviously, right? Given her judo background and everything.
Yeah, because even if she does end up tossing me to the ground, we're going to be on the ground, which is my domain. Right. So it doesn't matter what position. It doesn't matter if I'm on my back. It doesn't matter if she's inside control on top. Like I'm gonna get the finish. So I think she's gonna do everything in her power to avoid taking it to the ground.
Yep, that's why it's MMA. And while you were gone, I'm assuming you kept a close eye on the rest of the division, what was going on with the 125-pound division?
Yeah, I'm just a fan in general of women's MMA, and especially if it's the flyweight division. I was really excited to see, Denise Keyholtz. Her fight was amazing. I've always been a fan of Miss Dynamite. And yeah, it was a bummer that some of the other flyweight fights didn't go through, you know, because of COVID. But yeah, I've been keeping my eye out on everybody. Of course, my teammate Liz, she had an amazing Bellator debut. So yeah, I'm a fan in general, and I'm also like low key scouting these other girls.
Is it nice for you as a champion to even though you've beaten so many fighters, you've defended your belt so many times, that there's still some out there, some challenges that you can, the well's never going to run dry for you, it doesn't seem like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially since Bellator started signing more fighters, and with really amazing pedigrees. Again, Liz Carmouche, Vanessa Porto, the former Invicta champion. They made some really amazing signings this past year. So, and again, with the original first wave of women that they signed too, there's still some top contenders in there as well. So yeah, I don't think the well's going to run dry, and there's always going to be, you know, up and coming hungry fighters and veterans that are in the promotion.
Yep. And I know you've been asked about this before, and Scott's been asked about it a bunch, about a Grand Prix at some point with your weight class. It seems like now, the last few times he's been asked, he said, I'm still considering, you know, women's flyweight, but I might do men's bantamweight. I'm choosing between the two. You know, are you big? Are you really hoping that he goes for the tournament, or would you be, you know, fine with him diverging and going the other way?
No, I would love the tournament. I would love a chance to win $1 million. Yeah, we've been talking about this for a long time, and I think that had 2020 not have happened, then we probably would be in a tournament right now. Honestly, I think that's what would have happened. So, yeah, I think definitely female flyweight tournament is the next best thing. Who wants to watch men's bantamweight tournament? Come on, it's time for the ladies, okay? Come on, Uncle Scott, you know.
There you go. And last question: if I'm a fan and I tune into your fight, what do you think I'm going to see go down? How do you play it out in your head when you envision it?
Well, again, like I said, I think there's going to be a finish in this fight. And I think it's either going to be me getting knocked out in the first round or me finishing her in the fourth round.
Cool. Well, I really appreciate the time, and good luck on Thursday.
Thank you.